Alec Baldwin not cooperating. Authorities in New Mexico say that they are actively working with police in New York to get any information from the actor's cell phone relating to a probe into the fatal Rust movie set shooting, according to a new report. The comments coming nearly 3 weeks after the Santa Fe Sheriff's Office issued the search warrant. Here now, Attorney Bob Bianchi. Bob, I'll start by just asking you a very simple question. Alec Baldwin has been, very vocal about how he is not responsible here. Why not just turn over your cell phone?
Jackie, this is hard to say. As a former homicide prosecutor myself that's issued lots of search warrants, it is unusual. People typically want to cooperate. They want to give statements. They want to turn over information, especially if you want to show that, hey, I had nothing to do with this. That said, this is an actor that's a high-profile person that has a team of lawyers, and I can almost kind of be certain in my mind that somebody said to him, well, if you just turn the cell phone over, they can go through everything in your life willy-nilly, and if you get a search warrant, it'll narrow it down to a specific piece of information they can get. That said, what doesn't make sense to me is, okay, they got the warrant.
Right.
Now they have the warrant. They're speaking to the defense lawyer. Where's the phone? That's the odd piece of this. When I was investigating cases like this, if I had a phone that was out there for 3 weeks and I wasn't able to get a hold of it, I'd be screaming bloody murder about it. In fact, it never happened. We always got the phones.
Exactly. I mean, so much could happen in that amount of time to information that you potentially need. What do you think they think is on the phone? I know all you can do is speculate, but perhaps looking for, I don't know, messages where he described what happened, maybe something that doesn't jibe with what he's telling them?
Well, as prosecutors, it's a treasure hunt for us, but we do know some things that aren't speculative. We have that iconic picture of him right after the shooting on the phone with his mask down by his face.
Right.
So it's reasonable to presume that he was making a call about that and not about what he was having for dinner. We also know from getting the armorer's phone, who also is in legal jeopardy here, that there were text messages and emails that were going back as far as July talking about issues with regard to armory and potentially safety issues. So in that warrant, it says they know that there were emails and text messages and photos and potential videos that dealt specifically with this movie on set. So that is an objective piece of evidence there. Whether or not that points towards some sort of guilt or innocence, we don't know. And we won't know as law enforcement authorities until we get the phone.
Right. And so what happens here? How does this play out? One side is pushing to give it. He's resisting. I always think back to, Deflategate, where Tom Brady just destroyed the phone. Now, he got in a lot of trouble for doing that. But having said that, as you said, the more time that passes, these are the kinds of things that can happen.
Well, I'll tell you what, sometimes the cover-up is worse than the crime. And if I were the prosecutor, and again, I was one for a long time, and somebody destroyed their phone, they guaranteed themselves a criminal charge being filed against them for obstruction. That said, I don't want that phone out there for a long period of time. And I got to tell you, if there is going to be an issue with regard to liability on Alec Baldwin's part, whether it be criminal, it definitely will be civil. Let's not forget about that. Then this is going to be used by attorneys on the other side to say, you had a warrant, we got a warrant, you still wouldn't give the phone. It's what we call consciousness of guilt. Even if we're not talking about criminal, even if it's just civil, it's not a good look for him.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. And I'm wondering, Bob, if they could, as you said, when they narrow that search warrant down, if they could say, well, we want, XYZ text messages. I guess they don't know the bonanza they would get if they actually got the whole phone. They might find something that they weren't necessarily looking for, but that would be helpful.
Jackie, happens all the time. You're looking for something that's in bucket A, and you get into electronic devices, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, you got something X, Y, and Z over here. So there could be, look, you carry those phones, we all carry them. Everything that's on them is your personal life pretty much there. And a lot of people think they can delete and it goes away.
No.
But there are ways to get past all that.
Yes, there are. Bob Bianchi, thank you so much for that. Good to see you.
My pleasure.
We'll be right back.